It's time to begin the Pixar marathon and take you to infinity and beyond. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the very first video in the Pixar marathon. Every Wednesday moving forward will be a Pixar review in chronological order, all the way leading up to Toy Story 5, which should land at that very same week. So I'm very excited to do this, at least for the early half, because yeah, the back half, we'll get to it when we get to it. But the early stages of Pixar was really awesome. It started off as a bunch of shorts. We didn't even have a proper mascot yet until we had the Luxo Jr. Short. And then over time, they finally got a budget. Disney bought him, and we ended up becoming some of the greatest movies in cinema history, not just animation, but really these hold the test of time, if I'm being honest. And it all started in 1995 with Toy Story, and we even celebrated 30 years earlier this year. I have this to prove it. I went to the movie screening and it was a blast. I had the cup and the bucket celebrating Toy Story 30 years and beyond, and I still love the movie. So, what is this movie about? Well, it's about a character named Woody, a cowboy toy, who's basically like the sheriff of the bedroom. Basically, it is what would happen if the toys that you grew up playing with came to life. And basically, he's the sheriff. And at the time, we find out that it's actually Andy's birthday. Well, it's not technically his birthday yet, but since they are moving, they decided to have his birthday party that day. And Woody is basically letting everybody know not to panic, because no matter what happens, no one's planning on getting replaced. They find out about the toys, except the last toy, which is a surprise. And turns out it is a space ranger named Buzz Lightyear, voiced by Tim Allen. Tom Hanks and Tim Allen have great chemistry throughout this entire movie and franchise. Basically, Woody becomes jealous of Buzz Lightyear becoming Andy's favorite toy, who, may I remind you, up to this point, um, basically Andy goes from loving cowboys to loving space rangers, and basically Woody, being the one that told everybody not to panic, is now the one that's being replaced. Um, Buzz Lightyear, who generally thinks he's an actual space ranger and not a toy, is pretty much just going all out with this, and it is very cute to see kind of like the back and forth between Woody and Buzz throughout the movie, and then eventually them becoming friends when uh, Woody takes down Buzz Lightyear, and then they get lost, um, and then somehow they eventually end up in Pizza Planet, all the way leading up to Sid, who is the neighbor of Andy, who is very brutal with toys. Pretty much Sid is just this guy that loves to damage and destroy toys, and Woody's trying to find a way out. Um, Buzz is also just basically just being his Space Ranger self, and it's actually very devastating when you actually see that Buzz Lightyear realizes he's a toy. He's not really a Space Ranger. He tries to fly, he breaks his arm. It just shows a huge depression. That's what love. That's what we love about the Pixar series, that we basically get involved with these characters and then they see their personal selves in them, and this is what makes Toy Story so unique and awesome, and it's what became a phenomenal franchise, if you ask me. And even some of the other characters using Hasbro toys and Play School toys, such as Mr. Potato Head, Rex, Slinky, Bo Peep, Ham. It was really cool to see all these other characters, because I feel like they were in need of showing you big brands, because they needed this movie to become a hit, and then eventually it would lead to even bigger things down the road. Because as awesome as this movie is, The only real downside is that the animation isn't quite great. The human characters don't look all that great. It makes sense. It's 1995. It's the first ever CGI computer based movie. This is where everybody stopped doing hand drawn and really revolutionized everything. Even the very first Pixar shorts are not good. The Tin Can Toy was a Pixar short that you can tell got inspired to make this movie, even though the animation wasn't great. Look at that baby. Ew. Randy Newman carried the music here, making You Got a Friend in Me. Eventually he does all these other great songs in the movie, and it was really great to have Randy Newman involved with this. John Lasseter, who, say what you will about the guy. The guy knew how to make movies. He's kind of insane, but um, I just really adore this movie, and I love the chemistry between Woody and Buzz. How Buzz gets depressed, and then eventually he becomes what he is meant to be, and that is Andy's favorite toy. And I love that scene where Woody was like, "Listen, you're the one. I'm the one that should be strapped to that rocket, not you." And actually, in early found footage, apparently Woody was the one that's supposed to be in the rocket, but they changed the story, and I think it worked for the better. I love that they basically traumatized Sid and becoming a hater towards toys, and basically scared him crazily. But eventually, Woody and Buzz do make it back to Andy's, even though he's on the verge of moving, and you could tell Andy really loves these toys because they show him as a very sad character at some points. But I just really love the writing here, and I think it still holds up, and it's still one of the greatest animation movies of all time. It's definitely what revolutionized um, the animation that we know and love today. I think a lot of the movies that we know and love today wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for this movie. So because of it, I will have to give it an A. It's not an A plus. Really, it's just the animation wasn't there yet, but the characters, the writing, everything else about it was really good. So I will just give it an A. I cannot wait to talk about the rest of these series, and the next one will actually be A Bug's Life, which isn't that popular among people, but I beg to differ. I got some stuff to say about that one. Anyways, take care, everybody, and I'll see you on the next one.